Former UFC light heavyweight title challenger Anthony Smith, who's posted bail after being charged with 3 felonies in Nebraska. And the prosecutors laid out their allegations in some detail at his bond hearing this Wednesday. The Sarpy County Attorney's Office says an incident began last Sunday, that's July 26th, after Smith was removed from a concert at a local festival. They allege he made threats to kill his wife unless she got into his vehicle and went home with him, that he grabbed and pushed her inside the vehicle. They say she managed to get out during the journey home, and that then he continued making threats, demanding she get back in. Once they reached the house, prosecutors allege he tried several times to strike her with the vehicle once she exited it. She moved out of the path and was not injured. Local reporting adds that witnesses helped the wife and their children leave the property, and prosecutors allege that witnesses heard gunshots inside the house and that Smith threatened to take his own life if police entered. The charges are first-degree domestic assault, terroristic threats, and first-degree false imprisonment. And bond was set at a cool $500,000 with a no-contact order and a ban on leaving the state without approval. He's since posted bond, waived his preliminary hearing. This is apparently a fairly standard practice, which moves the case to the district court. And his next court date is on August 17th. So pretty serious charges here. And John, you know Smith's career far better than I do. For people who don't follow MMA, who is Anthony Smith and what's his standing in the sport these days?
I mean, Anthony Smith has had a really long career. He's had over 60 fights. And I mean, he came from a time period too that it would not doubt me if there were many more fights that just were not recorded. Like, this is somebody, like, it's an inevitable discussion to have about the amount of head trauma that this guy has taken. Not that excuses any of this. These are really serious, these are very, very serious charges that he could be looking at significant time in prison. I know a lot of people, it's coming so short after Dustin Poirier's incident at the airport, which, I mean, that was a misdemeanor. It was an ugly incident, but not at the level of this. That is, but it's 2 fighters that both, I think you look at, like, this is in such close proximity to their, like, so much of their identities were tied to fighting, and it's like life after fighting. And coincidentally, both ending up with broadcaster positions with CBS and Paramount for the UFC broadcasts. It remains to be seen if Smith will be able to, if he's going to keep that role or if he's going to be dropped from CBS and Paramount. That's certainly, the least of his concerns about all of this. But, Smith was generally like a really hard-nosed fighter that I think overachieved at light heavyweight. Neil mentioned him being a title contender. He fought John Jones a number of years ago. That was like his biggest fight. But, he also suffered a lot of knockouts in his career. And I think that he retired from the UFC last year, but then he just came back a few months ago for Jorge Masvidal's Gamebred promotion and did a fight, which he actually won back in April. And the irony of all this was also July 26th was also his birthday. He was turning 38 on Sunday as well. And yeah, there's a lot of questions. His manager actually put out a statement tonight basically stating that it would be inappropriate to comment on the allegations or speculate regarding facts that have yet to be fully established. Like every individual, Anthony is entitled to the presumption of innocence and the due process protections afforded under our justice system. We respectfully ask that people avoid rushing to judgment based solely on initial reports, as they often do not reflect the complete facts or context. Our thoughts are with Anthony and his family as they navigate this difficult and deeply personal matter and are asking for privacy. And yes, Anthony Smith will have his day in court and to present his side, but certainly you're looking at the facts here. They are harrowing. And I think of his wife and I think of his children and the lasting effects that an incident like this is going to have on them, seeing their father in this situation, allegedly. But this is, it's very disturbing, and I find it very difficult to just separate this from the fighting aspect and the idea that maybe this is the extreme example, but a lot of fighters that are we going to be seeing stories of their inability to, like post-fighting, what damage are these fighters incurring for our entertainment? And this is sort of this generation of fighters that, you know, Anthony Smith would qualify as someone that I'm sure took a ton of head trauma in his career.
Yeah. I did catch a comment from Dana White earlier. He apparently told the Mac Life, quote, "Well, he's one of those guys too. You don't expect to see that happen. From personal experience, it can happen to anybody," White said. I don't know.
This is not something that is just a luck of the draw. I mean, it's this is not like you're, you know, struck by lightning. This was not a coincidence or a happenstance that happened.
This feels like a tone-deaf statement. You know, he says, "I don't know enough about it. I just don't know enough of the details. I've been on the road."
That probably should have been the statement. I don't know enough about it. That's it. I don't know the details. I don't know enough about it. I will not comment on it. This is going to be a very prolonged case. You would assume, and for Anthony Smith, it's, you know, it's something that could carry with it a significant sentence with what is being charged here with these all being felonies. It's July on the Post Wrestling Cafe, and that means our extensive G1 coverage begins starting July 11th. We're going to have reviews of every single G1 card right up to and including the finals in the middle of August. Plus, Rewind Away takes a look at 2 episodes of Heels. We're also going to be going back to 2005 for a review of WrestleMania 21, and it is the start of our double shot episodes covering this season of Dark Side of the Ring. Plus, we are going to dive into the 3rd season of WWE Unreal. All that and so much more can be yours by signing up to the Post Wrestling Cafe. It gets you XL editions of Rewind to Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, Collision Course on a weekly basis, MCU later, and so much more.